Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy, and we're back with some more NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for both FanDuel and DraftKings for tonight's single-game showdown slate, Monday Night Football between the Bears and the Rams. In this video, we're going to look at the top plays for both FanDuel and DraftKings, lineup strategies for low-risk and high-risk contests, a little bit of projected ownership discussion, and then who you should look to target in your captain and MVP spots in all contest types. Before we get started, though, go ahead and click the subscribe button below. That way you get access to all of our videos as soon as they're released here on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. If you give us more thumbs ups, that means we know you all like these types of videos and we'll create more in the future. And if you have any questions, go ahead and comment below and we'll get back to you before the slate locks tonight, Monday night. Also encourage you to go read our Showdown Guide ebook, 15 chapters of backtested and research on how to be profitable in single game showdown contests. OccupyFantasy.com is where you can get your copy. All right, let's talk about tonight's slate. The Rams are near touchdown favorites. A lower total game, 44-45 points, depending on which book you're looking at. So, fortunately for us, low risk contests tonight are pretty easy on both sites, and we've seen this the last couple of slates. The running backs have been priced a little bit cheaper than they should be, and as a result, we're able to lock up our two quarterback, two running back approach that we look towards in our 50-50s, our double ups, and our head to heads. The idea being if we get both running backs in the game, both quarterbacks, we can lock up all of the touchdown scoring that happens, which should vault us into the top half of any low risk contest that we're playing. So if we look at DraftKings, for example, tonight, Jared Goff, Nick Foles, the two quarterbacks, David Montgomery, still underpriced for his role. Since Tariq Cohen has left, David Montgomery is averaging 5+ targets per game, a true bell cow role, 80+% of the snaps. So David Montgomery, and then Darrell Henderson, who there is some uncertainty, of course, with this Rams backfield. Malcolm Brown could get some work. Cam Akers may get some work. But as far as we know, Darrell Henderson is still the lead back, and so we can get him in at 8,200. That leaves us 4K left per player on DraftKings. We can fit in some value plays, kickers, and defenses. If you want to make sure you get at least one of the defenses, since tonight is a lower total game, and that's the advised route in low risk contests, you could downgrade from Jared Goff to, say, Nick Foles or Montgomery at MVP. Let's just say if we put Montgomery at MVP, what happens? Put Jared Goff in. That's $4,500 left per player. Both defenses are in the 5K range, so we can certainly make this work as well. Just depends on your preference of those last two value plays that you want to get in. But the point stands, we can easily fit in the two quarterbacks and the two running backs. Now, on FanDuel, it's actually even easier. Let's clear this really quickly so I can just show you the process. Goff, Nick Foles, the two quarterbacks. It helps that Nick Foles is the fourth highest priced player as a quarterback. And then Darrell Henderson, 12K. And Montgomery, for whatever reason, is 11.5. One of the safest roles in the entire game. This leaves us $8,000 left per player. Now we can easily fit in our favorite value play and have a great high floor, low risk lineup on FanDuel. It's rare that we get these kind of slates. It's been more common the last couple of showdown slates, but take advantage of it because not often can we fit in two quarterbacks and two running backs, especially on this site. All right, let's go back over to DraftKings and let's think about our high risk contests for tonight. High risk contests are leagues, our satellites, our GPPs, exponential payouts near the top, so we have to take some more risks. So let's think about this slate. So low game total generally means we want to look towards the running backs. So Montgomery is one of the highest rated players in our model and probably going to be a little bit lower owned than he should be in the captain spot because the Bears are basically touchdown underdogs. Going to be a lot more ownership on the Ram side, whether that's Henderson, definitely going to be Jared Goff, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, their two big receivers are going to get most of the ownership. As a result, we're going to see a little bit lower ownership than we should on both Montgomery, Allen Robinson, and especially Nick Foles. If we look at when these two teams played last year, obviously it was Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, but a very similar setup. And the Bears quarterback in that game was 35% owned overall on DraftKings and just 5% in the captain spot. Very rarely can we get quarterbacks at 5%, especially at least somewhat competent ones like Nick Foles. Not a great quarterback by any means, but he's not a Jeff Driscoll, a Kyle Allen type quarterback. He can actually at least score some fantasy points. And at 5% captain, that's pretty incredible leverage. So I think, at least personally, and we haven't finalized the daily plug at occupyfantasy.com, but the early look indicates that a Chicago heavy captain or MVP usage on both sites is the way to go. I mean, you look at, let's go back over to FanDuel. And again, Henderson at 11.5, it's really wild when you look at what the field does. Not only does projected points and win loss and total impact MVP ownership, salary does too. So it's really hard for the field to click a player who is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh highest priced player at MVP. As a result, David Montgomery is going to go lower owned than he should be, despite being a bell cow running back in a low total game. So Montgomery's incredible leverage on FanDuel. We saw it in the Eagles and the Giants game. Boston Scott, a top 3 or top 4 projected player just by raw fantasy points. And because he was so mispriced, 6,500, he was 50 to 55% owned in the flex spots. But because people physically could not scroll down on the salary list and go all the way down to 6,500 and put Boston Scott at MVP, he was only the MVP in 5% of lineups, which doesn't make much sense if he was a top 3 or 4 projected player. So the same thing's going to happen with Montgomery, even though he's not, Boston Scott levels. The fact that he's cheaper than Henderson and Robinson and Foles and Woods and Cup and Goff, he's going to be way lower owned than he should be, despite his raw projections in this game. So that's a good way to always think about this. Underdogs always get less captain MVP ownership than they should. And because most projections are tied to the Vegas odds and the Vegas totals, and as a result, players on the favorite team get higher projections, higher captain MVP ownership. But remember, it's a high-risk contest. If the game doesn't go as planned and the underdogs, the Bears in this case, win the game, what does that mean? Likely means a big game for Montgomery. Likely means he's one of the highest-scoring players on the slate. So just something to keep in mind. We'll have projected ownership in full up on the Occupy model around 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you're watching this video after 1 p.m. Eastern, you can go check occupyfantasy.com for projected ownership for both sites. And the daily plug will be out by 4 p.m. Eastern, which I highlight every single play in the slate, talk about their pros and cons, and then detailed lineup strategies for both sites for low risk and high risk contests. Again, occupyfantasy.com is where you can get that. Before we get out of here, one more ask: subscribe. That way you get access to all of our videos. We're almost at the 2,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. So if you guys can help us get us there, maybe we'll do a pretty big giveaway for the 2,000 subscriber mark. So click the subscribe button for us. Give us a thumbs up. And any questions you have. We always get this question a lot, or a lot of questions we get are prefaced by, I don't know if this is a dumb question, but don't worry about that. I guarantee you, if you have this question, many other people have this question. So if you have a question about the slate, ask it in the comments below, and we'll get back to them and answer you before 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. So Brian Jester for Occupy Fantasy. Appreciate you listening. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you soon.